Previously on Oops All Bards. With most of the competent mages and fighters of Udvara trapped under an energy dome at Mage and Marshall's Memorial Stadium, Triarch Thistleodora, Acting Secretary of War Gideon Stormcaller, a handful of Mage and Marshall faculty, and 5 new graduates, all bards, head to Sovereign House to determine how best to handle the reappearance of the former autocrat Phineas Malveaux, long presumed dead. The bards have with them a hostage of sorts, a young satyr who was left behind by the other Malveaux supporters. Pooched and Ruckus, one of the bards, shows some kindness to the satyr, who reveals that he was fighting for Malveaux under duress, and agrees to help the bards and the Republic in exchange for assurances of safety. Meanwhile, a legislative staffer, Clarva Dasham, reveals to Kilonian Stumps and Andric Harrowhold that the letter that was affixed to the front doors of Sovereign House with a dagger was a missive from Lucinda O'Cour, former head of propaganda under Malveaux, further outlining the demands from the Malveaux camp. Clarice Sauercloud and Belster Namiel, who first became childhood friends wandering the halls of Sovereign House, decide to gather intel of their own, with Clarice spying on the administrators and leaders as they try to strategize, and eventually offering her own services as a strategist. And with nobody else left to assist, the adults reluctantly agree to bring the bards into their planning. But what good are the bardic arts in such a time of crisis? That remains to be determined.
You wanted monsters all slain by their betters, but you ain't seen nothing like arts and letters. Look who has answered the cry of distress. Oops, it's all bards. Oh, what a mess. You think we're a joke, but in truth we're all id. We fight like we learned it in books, 'cause we did. We all survived college with charisma impressive. Oops, it's all bards, and yes, it's excessive. If you're still confused, we'll explain to you thus. There's nobody left, so that's why they called us. We'll fight or we'll otherwise roll for successes. Oops, it's all bards. We hope that addresses all that you have to know to enjoy listening to our all bard party sent off on a mission. How'll it go?
Well, we're sure you can guess.
Oops, it's all bards. Oh, what a mess.
Andric Harrowhold, Urade Hall.
Belster Namiel, Flatley Hall.
Colonian Stumps, Saluver College.
Clarice Sauercloud, Talmadge Hall.
Ruckus, Doghook, Go, Bananas.
Welcome back to Oops All Bards, the actual play D&D podcast that does what it says on the box. I'm your host and game master, Jillian Ashley Blair Ivy, but if you see me on the street and call me anything other than Jill, I'm almost certainly going to assume you're talking to somebody else. With me are our bards. Bards, please introduce yourselves.
Chris Glenecki, he, him, his pronouns, and I play Ruckus, the aspiring best boy.
Anne Coleman, she, her, and I play Clarice, who just is over it.
Ashley Banks, she, her. I play Belster Namiel.
Ross Carey, he, him, and I play Andric Harrowhold.
Bob Killian, he, him, and I play Kilonian Stumps.
Great. And also with us at the table is our producer, Nate Runkle, who is going to be the person you hear throughout this entire podcast without actually hearing him at all, except for in some of our behind-the-scenes episodes. So a lot happened in our last episode. We started with the bards and some of the university officials and visiting dignitaries who had just finished their combat against the supporters of the long presumed dead former autocrat Phineas Malveaux, who is apparently alive and well. Most of Malveaux's supporters who you fought have fled, except for a robe satyr who fell victim to a sleep spell cast by one of his own compatriots. You do know that there are other conspirators in the area because the giant energy dome that engulfs most of Memorial Stadium is still there, and Clarice, you detected that it was being cast by multiple unseen mages all at once. You bards all follow the officials and the dignitaries back to Sovereign House, which is the building that houses the legislative body not far from campus. And on your way, Clarice, you make an unseen detour to Enchanted Grounds, which is the coffee shop where you work, and you write a couple of important letters. You catch up to the group shortly after they arrive at Sovereign House, and you slam right into Thistlodora, one of Udvada's triarchs, and there's a little bit of hostility in your subsequent conversation. The group is then escorted to a room off of the legislative chambers, kind of an antechamber deal, and you're told to wait, but Clarice and Belle, you had some other ideas. Belle, you helped Clarice into the building's ventilation system, and then you set off, at least you said, to find a bathroom. And then you leave Ruckus and Andric and Kelonian with the satyr who you brought with you from the stadium. A legislative aide named Clarva Dasham knocks on the door looking for Clarice and Belle. They know Clarice and Belle because of their parents' affiliation with the government. Eventually, Clarva shares with Andric and Kelonian the contents of the letter that was affixed to the front door of Sovereign House with a dagger. The letter's from Lucinda O'Core, who is the former Minister of Propaganda under Malveaux, and it outlines Malveaux's demands. Meanwhile, the satyr is at first unwilling to cooperate until Ruckus, you show him a small kindness by helping him use the bathroom, and then you notice that there are some bruises on his legs that indicate he's probably been treated unkindly by his compatriots, and you offer him a little bit of healing. Moved by your gesture, the satyr tells you that his name is Goff Dromior, and he's working with Malveaux's supporters against his will after they abducted his parents, and he will help how he can. Belle, you successfully found the bathroom, and you're now mingling with some of the confused and upset legislative aides and the other staffers at Sovereign House, and you're trying to get what information you can. Clarice, you infiltrated the legislative chambers, spying on the administrators and politicians that you arrived with, and eventually you sort of insert yourself into the narrative. Philomena Blunderstool, who's the university president, tells Thistle that the students in the other room are actually pretty powerful, and she should probably consider enlisting their help, so she agrees with Clarice, kind of. Especially considering that there really isn't anyone else available right now because so many people are trapped under the dome. Philomena then opens the door to the room where Ruckus, Andric, and Kelonian are, along with Clarva and Goff, and realizes that Belle is not there. So let's catch up with Belle, because we haven't for a while. So Belle, when we last saw you, you had successfully gone to the bathroom. And
Excellent.
Yes. We decided that we weren't going to make you roll for that. And
Good choice.
yeah, I thought so. We didn't really, like, there was a lot of bathroom in the last episode. We didn't need more. But so after that, you kind of emerge into this crowd that you'd previously walked through, which is a bunch of very anxious-looking legislative aides, some other staffers from Sovereign House, a couple of security guards, some other folks who are just really kind of looking lost. And there's some murmurs, some gossip, but nobody really seems to know what to do next. And you had also shared with us that you recognize at least some of those people, or maybe that some of them recognized you because you come from a powerful family, and you probably, or your family at least, probably helped to get some of them to where they are today. So what would you like to do at this point?
So I think first thing that Belle is going to do is like approach the group and sort of like pick out somebody that she is closer to. Probably somebody who, she's known for a long time, informally. Maybe they've like gone to social events together, things like that. So she's going to first scan the crowd for somebody like that.
So I will tell you that there are 4 figures that really stand out in the crowd to you. One is a half-elf named Thylindra Swift-Scribe, who you recognize because she's your former babysitter.
Great.
You also see Seraphine Moonseal, who is a middle-aged Air Genasi and good friends with your mother. Mm-hmm. And you see Bran Ironbinder, who is a dwarf. His family lives in the caves not far out of Jubilantia. And he always, before he became a legislative aide during the summers, like in college, he would help set up the festival with your family. And then you also see a familiar figure, maybe not somebody that you know as well, but somebody who really stands out in the crowd. It's a tall warforged that you recognize as Gavric Ironbrand, and you know them because they were actually your escort when you came to Tormage and Marshall about 5 years ago.
Okay. I think of these people, I'm going to approach Seraphine, probably because
You've known her your whole life.
I've known her my whole life, and also, like, I know my mom is currently In a block of magic ice.
Magic energy.
Magic energy ice. Energize.
Yes, it's just energy. So Seraphine is this tall air genasi. She's got pale blue skin and dark eyes and this white blonde hair. You would spot her anywhere. And the thing is, she would also spot you. Mm-hmm. She's known you your entire life. She's an old friend of your mom. She visited a lot when you were growing up.
I am also currently wearing very bright colors and a lot of sparkles.
That's right, because you shed your robe, so now you're wearing like your dance costume from earlier. So
I imagine there's like feathers involved.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Even if she didn't want to spot me, she would spot me.
Yeah, it's a lot. So Seraphine is going to see you starting to approach her and say, Belle, is that you?
Yeah. Oh my goddess, how are you?
I have had better days.
Yeah.
Where are your parents?
Yeah, they're still at graduation, I guess. They're kind of in like a big dome of energy.
I have heard of this dome. I was hoping your parents were not in there.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Yeah, it would have been great. I'm very worried, not just about them, but obviously, I mean, your mother is very, very special to me, so I'm very worried about her, but I'm worried because there's been much action even before the dome and the Malveaux appearance.
Really? Like what?
This morning, I don't know that I should tell you this.
Oh, come on, you know I'm not going to tell anyone.
Roll me a persuasion check.
That was a 2. Plus 5 for a 7.
Belle, I don't think your parents would be very happy with me if I shared any information, but I will tell you to look around and notice what is perhaps missing here.
Sure, I can, yeah. That's totally fine. I mean, like, I get it. You're, like, super important and you have secrets, and that's fine. Yeah. Can I, like, do a perception?
Investigation check.
Oh, I'm so good at that.
You know what? I will give it to you with advantage because what she's asking you about is actually something that came up a lot, and it's just a matter of connecting the dots here.
Okay, so, first roll is going to be 11 minus 1 for 10. 10!
So what you will notice, just from looking around the room, again, because this is something you noticed before, not a lot of security in the room.
Belle's going to look around, and I feel like it's going to take a beat or two longer than Seraphine expects it to. Or maybe she knows Belle well enough that she doesn't expect it to be
Seraphine is going
fast.
to take you by the shoulders and actually, like, point you to an empty security kiosk.
Perfect. And then there's just going to be, like, a sort of, like, Belle's going to be kind of humming to herself while she thinks. She's going, Oh!
Yes.
So, where's all the security people?
Seraphine looks around and notices, like, everybody's kind of looking in your direction, but nobody's... It's more out of anxiety. It's not like anybody's, like, trying to eavesdrop on your conversation. And she's going to kind of take you... She still has you by the shoulders, and she's just going to kind of, like, shuttle you to the fringe of the crowd a little bit and say... I do not know exactly where the security is, but this morning... We were told that much of the security was dispatched to the graduation and Independence Day celebrations. And it seemed perhaps like it was a little sudden.
Huh. Well, that sucks, because, like, they're probably in the energy dome too now?
Yes.
So, like, everybody's gone.
That would seem to be the case, yes.
Huh. Can you send a message home for me just to tell them, like, Mom and Dad and Grandma and my aunts and my uncles and my cousins and my cousins' aunts. Anyway, everybody, like, my whole family is not gonna be coming back tomorrow, probably.
Did they leave a designated survivor?
Yeah. we have 3 se01ep at home because like we're still prepping for the festival, and like the staff is there and like the whole town is there, but you know, Grandma is here.
Yes. Okay, I will see what I can do. The visitor tube network seems to be working.
That would be great. Thank you so much. What are you guys doing now? Like, I guess you're just waiting? Like,
We wait.
well, that's boring.
From across the crowd, you hear a very familiar voice, and it's somebody that you knew already was in the crowd. It is Thelindra Swiftscribe, your old babysitter. This beautiful half-elven woman with olive skin, dark eyes, dark hair, who after university became a legislative aide, comes running across. Belle, is that you? Oh my God, Belle, you're okay.
Yeah, I was doing my performance, so I was like totally out of range.
And your parents?
They are totally in range.
Oh.
But like they're, you know, I think they're probably fine because they're super smart and cool and powerful and stuff. So Bella's like trailing off as she tries to assure her former babysitter and then like is in the process somehow becoming less assured herself.
Yeah. So Thelindra, having known you since you were a child and taking care of you, recognizes that this is something that you're doing. She says, "It's okay, Belle. You can cry."
No, I really can't because like there's a lot going on and they would want me to take charge and be strong, and also I'm wearing so much makeup right now.
That is actually a really good point. We wouldn't want to, I mean, that eyeliner alone, it would just be such a mess. But I am worried about you.
No, don't worry about me. I am fine. I have had lots of water. I have had a very good, nutritious, and balanced breakfast. And, you know, I'm going to take care of this. It's going to be great.
Do you have any questions for Thelindra, knowing that she works for the legislature?
I know I have questions. I'm wondering if Belle has questions. Trying to thread that needle. Does she have a significant, do I know if she has a significantly different role and therefore potentially different information than Seraphine has? Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Seraphine is actually the chief of staff for the legislature's president. So Seraphine has a lot of power. Mm-hmm. Thelindra she's much younger. She works on writing legislation. Mm-hmm. And last you heard, at least, her focus was on civil rights.
Cool. So probably very much an anti-Malveaux kind of person.
I think that's safe.
Just a guess. Okay. I think Belle would ask, so like, you do a lot of like stuff with papers and words and laws and stuff. What would happen hypothetically if the Triarchy were like, ooh, we surrender? Like, what happens next?
I mean, nobody really knows for sure, but theoretically, the current laws stay in place. Theoretically. Do an insight check.
13.
As much as Thelindra knows how to read your emotions and has for a long time, you also know hers. You saw her, she babysat you after her first boyfriend broke up with her. Mm-hmm. You've seen her go through heartache. You've seen her go through a lot of excitement when she got into Mage and Marshall. And so with a 13, you can tell that there is something that she is not telling you.
Mm-hmm. I feel like Belle is not known for subterfuge in the way that Clarice is. So she's probably going to be like, Thelindra, what aren't you telling me?
Persuasion check.
18. Finally, jeez. Just get something above a 10.
Perfect. With an 18, Thelindra is going to now take you aside. Seraphine has already kind of wandered off. Mm-hmm. She's going to take you aside, heading back toward the bathroom that you had emerged from before you came out here. And she's going to say, listen, you know that I work for Grand Counselor Copperjaw.
Yeah. Narrator. She did not.
But, whatever. It's fine. It's not,
Belle
I'm not
doesn't-
making you roll a history check here. You already know. You know that she has an interest in civil rights. And so yes.
Like, had Belle been quizzed on this, would she have gotten that right?
Absolutely not.
No.
No.
If she, saw the guy, would she know who he was? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you probably at least would recognize a lot of the people in the legislature. So as she's kind of standing near the bathroom door to you and saying very quietly, Counselor Copperjaw recently asked me if I could take a look at all of our already enacted civil rights legislation and make sure there aren't any loopholes in it, just in case something were to happen and there was to be a major change of power. He just wanted to make sure that everyone's civil rights would still be safe.
Huh. When you say recently, do you mean this morning or do you mean a week ago?
In the last month or so?
Huh. Okay. That's weird.
He seemed very concerned.
Well, I mean, seems fair, honestly.
I mean, knowing what we know now.
So the question is, what did he know then? He was at graduation, wasn't he?
Yes.
Okay. Well, were there any loopholes?
I'm still doing the work. I've found a couple. We've passed a few pieces of patch legislation to try and close them. We've passed so many civil rights bills. It's really hard to go back through all of them. I mean, we're talking about 30 years of change.
Yeah, I mean, listen, to be fair, if somebody were to, again, hypothetically, forcibly take over control of all of our government, I don't know how much, the piece of paper saying that you can't do stuff is gonna help anyway. So, silver linings?
Sure.
I feel like Belle is trying to be comforting and is just being all of the work that you just did doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, she looks pretty crestfallen at this.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else that you want to talk to?
I feel like I want to say hi to Bran.
Okay.
And then I feel as a player I should probably talk to Gavrick. But I feel like Belle is just not even gonna register that she should talk to him. So I'm just gonna leave that hook on the table. So yeah, I think Belle's gonna give Thylindra a hug and be like, it's gonna be okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And she's gonna give her a little kiss on the forehead, which Belle's gonna have to stand on tippy toes to do that, and it's definitely gonna leave a lipstick mark with sparkles.
I love it.
Then she's gonna go over to Bran. She's gonna be like, Bran, hi.
Oh, is that Belle?
Yeah, it's Belle.
Belle, it's been so long since I've seen you.
Yeah, it's been I don't know, a year or two.
Oh, I wish we were meeting under happier circumstances.
Yeah, it's kind of sucky right now. You got any dirt?
Dirt?
Yeah, what's going on with you and also the world?
I mean, right now I'm just trying to keep everything together.
Yeah, you know what? That's fair.
Do you know what he does here?
No.
Do you want to ask him what he's doing to keep everything together?
No, she doesn't. She's gonna... I know exactly what she's gonna ask. There's gonna be a pause and Belle's gonna be like, so... what do you use for that? String or some glue?
What are you talking about, Belle?
To keep it together.
Oh, Belle, no, I'm the deputy chief of facilities here.
So, duct tape? To be fair.
That's so funny because I was about to interject and say the same thing.
To be fair, I feel like a lot of keeping things together with facilities could involve duct tape.
That is true.
There's literal ducks Ducks with a T.
There are ducks. We've decided in this world that has not a lot of other technology. There's HVAC.
There's a rule that all fantasy worlds that involve any kind of rogues has to have HVAC as like an early development of technology for the sake of roguery.
I'm good with that rule. So after you ask him about the duct tape, he's gonna go, Belle, I better get back to work. You be safe now.
Wait. So facilities, like, what do you need to keep together if, like, everybody's at graduation? The building should be fine, right? Like, nobody's causing floods or, like, clogging toilets.
What do you think I'm not a janitor, Belle.
Okay, so, like, what? But, like, facilities is like buildings, right? Like, nobody's around to mess up the buildings.
Do you think the building will just continue to stand if there aren't some of us who are keeping it maintained?
Do buildings fall apart that fast? Belle, like, genuinely, like, she is alarmed at the idea that, like, if a building is not actively being held together by somebody, that it is just going to collapse at any minute.
The building's not going to fall apart, dear, but the magic holding it up might.
Yeah, you go get back to work. Do you get that magic duct tape and you just tape it all up.
Great. We're going to leave Belle, and we're going to go back into that legislative antechamber.
Thank you. I think we all need a break.
Philomena has just come out of the legislative chambers into that antechamber and looked around and realized that there is one of you missing.
A very ostentatious one.
Very noticeable one. Not just because she's highly visible, but also because of who her parents are. She's somebody that we need to, like, keep an eye on.
The room seems less glittery when she comes in.
Somehow. So Philomena looked around. Where's Belle? Anyone? Where's Belle?
I'm afraid I don't currently know where Belle is.
Ruckus. No.
Philomena's going to look back at Clarice and say, I know that you must know something.
Okay, you are entitled to your opinion.
Gideon is going to kind of shoulder his way into the room and look at you and say, Clarice, now is not the time to try to be clever or deceptive. I know that you know Belle, and I suspect that you have at least an inkling of where Belle is.
Yeah, I didn't say I didn't. I mean...
Listen, do you want to help us or not?
Well... Yes... As long as I get to be the chief negotiator.
Well, I'd be happy to go look for her.
Nah, it's okay. What do you say, Uncle Gideon? Chief negotiator? Is it official? Are you hiring me?
Clarva stands up from the couch and says, I think I have a better idea.
Oh, no. That is not possible.
Good to see you, Clarice. So Clarva is going to go into the desk that's in the corner of the room, open a drawer, and pull out a sending stone. And speak into the sending stone to say, Ironbinder, have you seen the Cernamiel girl? If you have, bring her here.
Probably could have just done that in the first place.
Nobody asked me to begin with.
Ugh, Clara, you're such a killjoy. You know I would be the best chief negotiator, like, forever.
Love you, Clarice.
Ew.
We probably should find Belle. It sounds...
No, like, I know where she is. I never said I didn't. So, like, how can you find something that is not missing?
Does she actually know where Belle is?
I mean, sort of, yes. Yeah, totally.
Love that.
We know you went to the bathroom.
Yes.
I think was what it was.
Well, she was actively in a duct when Belle went to the bathroom. So I don't know.
But there was so we in the last episode there was a lot of sideways glances and giggles at each other, and I think that a plan had maybe kind of emerged.
That's fair.
So she might have, you both know your way around this building very well. So she probably at least has some ideas of where you might have gone to if you're not in that room waiting for her.
No, super valid.
You've also both well exceeded the 3.5 minutes that you decided you would be back in this room.
I feel like that's a pattern.
I feel like probably the watch that you synchronized doesn't even actually work. You just like set it and you're like, yeah, it's set at the same time. And you look down and you're like, oh, I still have plenty of time.
You forgot about the watches, didn't you?
I definitely did. Actually, it occurs to me that Belle probably wasn't wearing a watch with her dance costume, so she probably just like fiddled with a bracelet and was like, yeah, synchronized, done.
Yeah, I could see that.
Just for the record, Clarice is really concerned that people are trying to get her out of the room. So she is not helping, not because she doesn't know things. She knows things. Okay.
Philomena says, that's actually a good point. It's much more roomy if we all go back to the legislative chambers. So we're not asking you to leave the room so much, Clarice, as I'm suggesting that we all leave the room. Back there, in the big room, with the soundproofing.
I am a college graduate. You do not need to talk to me like yesterday was my first day ever.
Clarice, I don't know why you're being so rude to me.
That was not rude. That was a factual statement.
Point of order, I'm technically not sure that we're college graduates. We didn't get our diplomas.
Who asked you?
Just pointing out a factual gap in your reasoning.
Seeing as I didn't go to the ceremony, I'm hoping that it is just a formality and that we don't actually need it to
Yeah,
be considered
no,
graduated.
seriously.
Present, yeah.
Whatever our national clearinghouse of degrees is, I have completed the credits, I have paid the bills, and I am a graduate.
Philomena, like, as the university president, Philomena is looking back and forth at all of you. Says, you all met yes, sure, you've graduated. I know that a few minutes ago I said technically you hadn't graduated, but I was trying to kind of lighten up the mood. Can we just, I'm getting a little claustrophobic in here. Can we just move back into the big room, please?
Yes, we can, but the record should note that telling recent college graduates that they have not actually graduated is a dick move.
Yes.
Thistle looks at you and says, "You know what? I think you're right." And then she turns and walks back into the legislative chambers and waits for everybody to follow her. As that's happening, the door to which you entered that parlor, that side room, opens, and there is a tall Warforged who is, I don't know, Belle. The Warforged has decided that you need to come back into this room. Is this something that you are doing voluntarily?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
But I think she was probably chatting them up the whole time.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. So, what are you talking about as you walk into this room?
Well, probably during the walk from, during the beginning of the walk, she was figuring out, like, oh, so you're, like, not a tour guide anymore. Good for you. And trying to figure out, like, what is it that the Warforged does now? And I assume that whatever they're talking about now is predicated on that. Like, is there duct tape involved?
Why don't you roll me a perception check to see whether you were actually paying attention to the Warforged's answer?
Sure. 18.
Yes. So as Gavrik was walking you back to meet up with everybody, they told you that they are now the head of security for Sovereign House, and they've spent the entire morning trying to keep everyone calm. Especially challenging, given that early that morning they were asked to dispatch any of the non-essential security personnel to Memorial Stadium.
Yes. So I guess she is now trying to ask about, like, what does security do now? Besides keeping people calm, but, like, do they go secure the other secure people? Like, what happens when the security needs securing?
Roll me a charisma check.
Straight charisma?
Straight charisma. It's going to be pretty high because you have to be charming to a automaton.
Yeah, that's a 10, so.
Yeah, so Gavrick is mostly, like, still just giving you the barest details, talking a little bit about their career ascension, has told you about the security situation, but is not really revealing much else. And then as the door opens, you see everybody is walking from that antechamber back into the legislative chambers, and Gavrick says,
Thank you, Belle. I will see you later.
Bella's gonna say, thank you, Gavrick. I will see you too.
what do you do when you enter that room?
I am a little disappointed that she got back to the room before everybody cleared out, because I think it would have been hilarious if she was summoned and then was just like, But she sees everybody going to the other room, so she's not super stupid, so she's going to just follow everybody into the larger room.
Great. In the larger room, Thistle is going to look back at Clarice and say, sounded like you have a plan. You wanna share?
You're literally in charge of the government and you are prepared to turn things over to me.
Oh no, I have a plan. Although I think it's just, I mean, you were so vocal, I thought that it would be nice to just give you a chance to hear your plan. But
you need to buy time. I can buy you time. That is the plan. Take it or leave it.
I mean, I'm definitely planning on buying time. Yes, I mean, the other two Triarchs aren't going to be able to get here by the deadline of midnight tomorrow.
Oh my God, you're joking, right? You think that you guys should actually be in the same place right now? Okay, everybody, I need your attention, please. Thistle is clearly working with Malveaux. Who would like to join me in a vote of no confidence?
Gideon steps in front of you and just, Clarice,
What?
sit down.
You guys, I retract my previous suggestion that Thistle is working with Malveaux, but I am not striking it from the record. Let it be noted, for the record, I have suspicions. This is suspicious.
Is there a clerk keeping a record of these?
Absolutely not.
I don't think so.
Absolutely not. I was just going to say, Philomena's going to look around the room and say, you keep making reference to this record?
Bella's just like signaling, like standing behind Clarice and just like making signals like, don't bother. Don't bother.
Ruckus, help.
He pulls out some parchment and a quill and he starts scribbling madly on the parchment.
Love it. I love it. And Thistle's going to look back around the room and say, the satyr, what's his story?
Well, a long time ago, they were escaping from Egypt.
He has a very sad story and has been essentially blackmailed and tortured into helping Malveaux.
Oh my goddess.
Yes, and, well, this is the part you might enjoy. This was all executed at Malveaux's summer manor. I think we're going on vacation.
Beach trip?
The Alcazar is not by the beach. It is in the forest.
Forest trip. Wait, no, but hang on. Bella's gonna like look at the satyr and be like, I'm so sorry. Do you want to come live in Jubilantia?
I think I would like to find my parents first, but I have heard Jubilantia is a very safe place. So maybe after I find them, we can all seek refuge in Jubilantia?
Yeah, 100% for sure. Just like tell him I sent you.
Amazing.
Don't you all, looking at at Thistle specifically, but at the adults in the room,
Don't you all kind of need to know what I know before you make your plans?
Yeah, Bella's gonna be like, I want to hear whatever you want to share.
You? No. Question mark?
he's going to look over to Thistle, who gives him a nod and says, if there's anything you can tell us, please. And Gideon is going to look and go, How do we know we can trust him?
Do we have a choice?
Uncle Gideon, I know that you were doing some very important things at the stadium during their graduation, but this little tweeny satyr was sat upon and coerced into staying. So, clearly was not part of the plan that we were going to have him and be able to ask him things.
I remember one of his own compatriots putting him to sleep. How do we know that wasn't part of the plan?
Well, you're all pretty powerful individuals. Has anybody got a Zone of Truth spell? Not that I'm a big fan of coercing information out of people, but it seems like a pretty humane way to do it.
We have ways of making you talk. Pacifist ways.
Yeah.
It's nonviolent.
We will ask very nicely.
Phala is our head of magical arts. And Phala is going to just step forward. There's a big range on the spell, but it's going to step forward into the center of where everybody is standing and cast Zone of Truth on everyone.
I promise I am telling you the truth. I didn't want to be a part of that. They did everything they could to brainwash me into supporting Malveaux. They were unkind, they beat me. And if you will help me, I will help you.
Seems like a pretty, not great way to, get somebody to support you. Is yeah, support us. Punch, punch, you know?
Yeah, I wasn't a really big fan of that either.
While the Zone of Truth is operating, Clarice is going to discard her affected pronunciation.
I love it.
Of everything. And it's just going to be oh my God, I'm so sorry, dude. That's not okay. Do you need a hug?
I would love a hug.
Belle?
Belle hugs him.
You smell nice.
Thank you. You might be covered in glitter for a really long time.
I think I already had some glitter on me from earlier.
Great! So she's just going to continue hugging him and pat his head.
And Clarice, having now conducted business in her normal voice, is going to turn to Thistleodora, who is sus, and say, "So, Triarch, what is your plan?"
My plan is the same as yours. It's to kill time.
Until
Until we have a better plan.
who will determine what's a better plan?
Gideon's going to step out and say, I think I've at least got the beginnings of a plan, but we need some intel first. And he's going to look at the satyr at Goff. And Gideon doesn't really drop his gruff affectation. That is who he is. But he's also always been very warm and affectionate toward Clarice. And he kind of picks up a little bit of that, looking at Goff, looking at the satyr and saying, it's okay, buddy. Tell us what's going on. And Goff is going to say to him,
Does everybody know about the letter from Lucinda O'Cor?
Let's just say, what if we don't? Recap.
He's going to look at Kelonian, who was the one responsible for reading it.
Well, it's a sad state of affairs. They want to bring back this obsidian court. Fan of democracy myself, I would prefer it. But our triarchs, that doesn't mean that I want to see them put to death, which seems like this obsidian court would want to do. Wants them to abdicate their power and then get tried. Seems like a sham court to me. They're just going to sort of put him to death. Doesn't seem right. So that seems to be the stakes. And, somebody who's going to come in and trap everybody in a big dome. I don't know how well we can trust them. Trust them at their word. Or trust that they're going to keep those people safe inside. Seems to me we got to do something. Help them out.
Many, yes.
Clarva's going to look at you and say, point of order. You said you're a fan of democracy, but the Triarchs are elected. You've just You're a college graduate. You are aware of this, yes?
Well, I'll take it back because I forgot about the details of the sort of government here. I appreciate that we have elected leaders in the triarchy here, and so, as much as I may disagree with their actions sometimes, I think that, I certainly wouldn't want to see them put to death. And I don't think we can trust this Malveaux. Mal means bad. I'm going to assume is a bad person.
Gideon says, I never put that together.
I'm sure they have Latin in this world, right?
Bella's gonna be like, I don't know about judging people based on their names, but okay. Also, what is this letter? And, Bella's gonna, see if, just sort of subtly in the background, try to get the letter so she can read it, because she was not in the room.
Clarva's just going to hand you the letter.
Yeah, that's great.
They know you.
Yeah.
They know you and Clarice. They've known you both for a long time. So now that Clarva has shared the letter with your other 3 compatriots.
Yeah, no reason to not share it with Belle.
Right.
Yeah, so she's just, while this is all happening, is just reading and, chiming in. Let's not judge people based on their names. Thanks, bye.
Okay, yes. So just to summarize, the letter from Lucinda Accor, the former head of propaganda for the Malveaux autocracy, demands that the Triarchs abdicate their power at midnight tomorrow and stand before the Obsidian Court. And the Obsidian Court, is basically a kangaroo court. It existed under Malveaux to give the appearance of a fair trial for anyone Malveaux really just wanted to get rid of. The letter also says that if the Triarchs don't surrender, war will be declared and the emergency dome and Memorial Stadium will be zapped into another plane.
Philomena is going to say, Belle, maybe we should let the Triarch read the letter?
Oh, sure. I'm sorry. I didn't know Here.
This is worse than I thought it was going to be.
Is it?
We've had intel for some months now that something like this could happen. We didn't really take it seriously. And Goff is going to pipe up and say,
It is very serious, ma'am. It is extremely serious. Miss O'Cour and her bodyguards are hanging out at the Alcazar. And I do believe she's always told me that she's a reasonable woman. I mean, I don't know for sure, but if you're looking to buy time...
And he looks over at Clarice and then back at Thistle and says,
If you're looking to buy time, I think your best bet would be to send some emissaries to Ms. O'Cour.
Clarice is going to nod, but as anybody within the zone of truth is aware that they are within the zone of truth, Clarice is also going to sort of defer and try to slip away a little bit and get Ruckus's attention.
Ruckus, enjoying the warm fuzziness of the zone of truth, rears himself up on his hind legs to his full height, grins a toothy grin with his tongue blepping out, and says,
Ruckus. Big. Dog folk.
and beams at everyone.
That is definitely the truth.
Ruckus? Ruckus.
Yes. Hello.
Can I have a word?
Yes.
Like, over there.
Ruckus. Go. Question mark?
Please.
Go. Outside. Question mark?
No.
Question mark?
Just follow.
Yes.
With that, Clarice is going to walk sort of away a little bit while she has a quick word with Ruckus.
Both of you should do a stealth check.
Yeah, it's a non-natural 20.
Okay.
Right, and mine's a 15.
Yeah, I'd say those are high enough that you're able to kind of
Giant
sneak
dog
off.
folk.
Everybody
who
else
was
is
just bragging about how large he was.
I think part of the reason they're able to escape is because everybody in the zone of truth is like feeling so warm toward this poor little beaten satyr that while you're continuing to ask him questions, everybody's just kind of like closed in and you're kind of like all trying to comfort him in your own ways. Everyone is kind of fawning over the satyr.
Fawning.
Yes. Yeah. As I said it, it was like, oh boy. But everybody is paying attention to the satyr, to what he is saying, but they also seem very concerned about his well-being. So that's where all the focus is right now. So the two of you are able to get away.
Ruckus.
Yes.
Would you like a banana?
Really, really excited, Ruckus sits down, sticks his tongue out, and says,
Big. Yes.
Clarice, who, when she stopped at Enchanted Grounds, did bag up some bananas, is going to give Ruckus a banana, peel it, and not give it all to him in one. She's going to break it into individual pieces.
so you can maintain his attention across the conversation, right?
Yes.
Amazing.
Ruckus, you understand that something dangerous is going on.
Ruckus is wagging his tail really, really excitedly with a banana and says,
Yes.
And Clarice gives the first piece of banana.
Chomp.
I think that this is one of those times when you need to hide what you can do. Understand?
Ruckus. Understand.
Good, Ruckus. Extra banana piece just for maintaining attention.
Chomp. Oh boy. Banana's my favorite one.
Do you understand that there are many bad people?
Yes.
Banana piece.
Chomp.
Do you understand someone here might be bad?
Big. Yes.
Banana piece.
Chomp. Oh boy, this is so good.
Do you know that you can trust me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not going to give you this piece of banana just yet because it is not for trusting me.
No. Bananas. Question mark?
Oh. Wait. One more question, then all bananas. If I need your help, and I think someone is bad, will you help me?
Big. Yes.
Ruckus wags his tail.
Great. Clarice is going to give the last 3 pieces of banana,
Chomp,
rapid
chomp,
fire, and then is going to ask Ruckus if he would like one backup banana to carry with him.
Many. Yes.
Okay. And Clarice is going to give a still enclosed in its peel banana to Ruckus.
You. Big. Good.
Great. Are you staying on the fringes or are you re-entering the circle?
I am going to come back to where I can listen, and if that means I need to enter the zone of truth, I will do so, but I am not interested in going right to the middle just yet.
That's fine. You are back in the zone of truth, but you don't need to be all the way in the middle. So everybody is listening intently to really kind of a recap of what some of you at least already heard from Goff last time. His sob story is really resonant with everybody right now in the zone of truth because everybody's let their guard down, and there are tears. There's a lot of like poor babies and tisking of the tongues, but at the same time, I think there's an understanding that there's information that needs to be had. Does anybody have any questions for Goff?
Goff, what can you tell us about the manor, its layout, its defenses, and Ms. Okor's bodyguards?
There are not many defenses. I think that there is an expectation that emissaries will be sent, but not that battle will be waged. They are prepared. If anyone tries combat, Ms. Okor's bodyguards are quite frightening. I know of at least 2 that are there. My compatriots, I guess, were not supposed to return to the Alcazar.
Where were they supposed to go?
They never told me.
Were you just going to blindly follow them?
I think they didn't think I would make it back.
Gideon, after listening to all of this, is going to say, all right, so I think I have at least the beginnings of a plan. You are all bards. You're very charismatic, so it makes diplomacy maybe in your wheelhouse. And Philomena looks at Gideon and says, well, you know, some of the schools at least offer diplomacy as part of their major.
He must have listened to the theme song.
I don't know where you would get that idea.
So you actually intend for us to entreat with Malveaux and Okor?
To be clear, not with Malveaux. Malveaux is not there.
Can I do a history check while we're
Yeah.
here? I want to know where Miss Okor is supposed to be. Like, what her status was, because we know Malveaux was supposed to be dead.
Yeah. What did you...
I rolled an 11.
So last you heard, she and some of the other cabinet ministers under Malveaux had been imprisoned in the far north of the country, actually not far from where Andric's family is from.
Okay. And then I'd also like to do a perception check.
Okay.
To see if anybody among the many sympathetic people in the Zone of Truth, if anybody is being less expressive or less warm.
All right, roll it with advantage.
That's a 15.
Oh, nat 20.
Nat 20 plus 3.
You notice that Thistle looks very uncomfortable, but that the discomfort that she is showing seems to be more a response to the cruelty that Goff has endured than to any part of this plan that is taking shape.
Great. I am going to try to get Belle's attention. And the way I'm going to do that is by staring at Belle until Belle looks at me. And then I'm going to meaningfully, with my eyes, look at Thistle and back at Belle.
Belle, let's have a perception check from you.
6.
Belle is so riveted by Goff's sad story that she is not looking at you at all.
All right. Realizing that Belle is not going to get on board, Clarice is going to pull out her trusty journal that she grabbed.
Ah, the record.
She keeps a record of everything if she can. She's going to rip out a page. And she is going to scribble to Gideon a little note.
Okay.
That is just going to say, look at Odora. Something's off. And then she's going to fold it. She's going to fold it again. And then she's going to fold it a different way. And then she's going to fold it until it makes a little football. Listeners, that is happening right now.
This seems to be the fold that Clarice prefers, because I feel like this happened in the last episode too. Yes.
This is how you know it's from Clarice. She's going to tuck it together. And then she's going to go, big stretch. And
Does she say the words big stretch?
Yeah.
Been hanging her out with Ruckus too much.
And she's just gonna go directly over with her hand, the one that's reaching higher in the air, over Gideon's shoulder and into his lapel pocket with the note.
So Gideon is still talking through the plan.
Yep.
And
Sleight of hand check.
yes.
No, that was not an attempt at deception.
Oh.
Everybody can see that
Okay.
she is sending this note.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
it is just like something's off.
All right.
Have a note.
So remembering that you are all in Zone of Truth, would anybody like to ask Clarice about what she's just done?
I would like to announce that Ruckus finds stretches contagious in the same way that humans find yawns, and so he also gives a big old stretch.
Clarice, you look sleepy. May need to make a trip to Enchanted Grounds. Get yourself some coffee.
That was a disturbing laugh.
The Elmer Fudd, machine gun laugh. Excellent.
Clarice is going to look at Colonian and just say, like, thanks, I'm totally fine.
Gideon is a little annoyed with you for interrupting him. by this very, very not subtle gesture of putting a note in his pocket. He's going to take the note out, and he's going to look at you, look at Thistle, remembering that you are all in the zone of truth. He's going to show the note to Thistle. Thistle's going to look at the note. You want to know why I look upset?
Yes.
You know that my parents were part of the Malveaux administration.
Oh, yes.
Did you know that they left the administration before the revolution?
Oh, shit. Yeah, I think I did know that.
History check.
That is a 22.
Yeah, so it all comes running back to you. When your mother was managing Thistle's campaign, you were tasked with doing quite a bit of research during your summer break. And you learned that Thistle's parents, nobody ever really said what had happened, but something led to them parting ways with the Malveaux administration, after which they were captured and beaten. And so what you see is affecting Thistle so much is not that she's concerned or that she's complicit in what's happening. It's PTSD.
Clarice in the zone of truth is just gonna be like, okay, sorry for dredging up your trauma. That was not cool.
To be fair, this whole thing is dredging up my trauma, but I appreciate your apology. You know that I love and respect your mother very much.
Yeah, you were acting so weird, and it was throwing me off, and I know that there have to be people on the inside, because, like, otherwise, why is the dome still going? Like, we know that there's nobody outside, so, like, I have my somebody has got to be in on this.
Fella kind of gestures to indicate that we're all in the zone of truth still. It says, show of hands. Who's involved?
Belle's hand goes up.
Who's involved with the conspiracy to restore Malveaux to power?
Belle's hand goes down.
There are no hands up.
Just Arcana check, I think it would be.
Yeah.
Does hand raising fall under zone of truth control?
I'm going to check the rules on it really fast.
Because I thought it was just that you can't
speak
intentionally.
Yeah. Can't speak a deliberate lie.
Yeah.
I think there's
also a wisdom saving throw to resist the truth effect.
But you know when somebody.
I didn't have anybody roll because it seemed like it was we are all
Everyone's on the up
agreeing.
and up.
Yeah, we are all agreeing to be under the zone of truth, so there was no reason to roll a saving throw.
So Clarice, knowing that hands don't apply, is going to be like, aren't you literally the person in charge of magic at this university?
Okay, fine. We'll just go around the room. I am not in cahoots with Malveaux.
Or
any of the Clarice, you know me better than that.
say her name.
Or Lucinda O'Cor. She's in cahoots with Malveaux. If I'm not in cahoots with Malveaux, neither.
She could be acting independently. I am just covering my bases.
I have nothing to do with what is happening today or anything to do with any of this.
Great. Everybody repeat that.
Everybody, all of the administrators at the same time say, I have nothing to do with anything to do with all of this.
I got nothing to do with any. What was it again?
Bella's going to repeat that entire back and forth. Both Clarice and Thistle's parts back and forth. She's going to say the whole.
Everybody just waits very patiently for her to finish.
It's actually impressive that she gets it word for word, intonation, everything.
Performance check.
Great. Nat 20
with a +7 modifier.
That is a waste of a nat 20. Yeah, you do it word for word,
and it is compelling theater.
It is so compelling. Everybody stops and applauds you for your performance. You got both voices down so well, and the timing and everything else.
Yeah, it's literally as if she just replayed it. Like, you know that scene in Lilo and Stitch where Stitch, like, puts the finger on the record and opens his mouth and Elphys comes out?
Amazing.
Amazing.
Amazing. So, the rest of you, do you want to say out loud that you have nothing to do with all of this?
Well, Ruckus can't say any of that, so he'll just say,
Ruckus. Good. Dogthunk.
Obviously, I have nothing to do with anything that happened today, or Malveaux, or O'Court, or any grand conspiracy, and I support the Triarchy, even when maybe I accidentally seem a little bit rude to one of them.
I was completely not involved and prefer to stay out of the political system altogether.
Yeah, I'm not involved with any of this. I got feelings about the Triarchy and their actions, but I'll leave that to myself. I don't think that's germane to the situation.
What does Goff say?
I have nothing to do, well, I mean, I guess I do kind of have to do with what happened earlier today, but I promise I am telling you the truth. I am not a supporter of Malveaux. All I want is to find my parents and forget any of this ever happened.
Are you a supporter of the lady, though?
Of Lucinda?
Yeah, just like Clarice was like, let's cover all our bases.
I mean, if Lucinda is a supporter of Malveaux, or even if she just says she is, then no, I am not a supporter of her. She's never done anything bad to me, although she did kind of oversee the camp where I was, where everybody was kicking my ass. So yeah, no, I'm not a fan.
Belle's gonna look at Clarice and be like, does that count? Like, does that cover everything?
Clarice is gonna give a sort of checks out shrug.
Cool.
Gideon's like, can I get back to my plan? I was almost finished.
Clarice is gonna do a tiny warlike salute. Her whole little body is gonna snap to momentary attention, and she's just going to do a very, very quick, sharp gesture salute to the forehead and down, because of course Gideon is Secretary of War, and she thinks that's funny.
Gideon thinks it's adorable. And he's gonna say, look, I think that it would be best if we keep the Triarch safe with us. And if your administrators go back to the school to start working on how to break the energy dome spell. And the 5 of you can try to entreat with O'Court to at least buy the Triarchs some time.
you had Ruckus at treats.
And Thistle's going to add, don't engage unless you have to. Do you all accept?
Well, Kelonian very much likes that this is a sort of diplomatic solution that we're trying to aim for. So Kelonian is like, let's absolutely really want to help in this situation, and I think this seems like a good plan.
You still have Angel on your back. We haven't heard from Angel in a while.
Well, Angel doesn't say much.
No, but
Angel is a chicken.
Are you going to bring Angel with you?
Angel goes with Kelonian, for better or worse.
Okay. How about everybody else? Are you in?
For Goff's sake, yes, but why would O'Court even deal with us? What could we possibly offer to get her to back off?
Bananas.
Ruckus looks at you like you're an idiot, like you didn't actually just graduate. Bananas.
Clarice becomes aware that she is being stared at, as though she should have a suggestion for what to do.
You did request to be the chief negotiator.
Yes. And I have some thoughts. Clarice did not have some thoughts.
Roll a deception check.
Wait, aren't we in the zone of truth?
Yeah, but she's trying to do a charisma saving throw.
Wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom saving throw.
Well, but I think also she definitely has some thoughts.
That's fair.
Yeah. Okay. So Clarice says, I have some thoughts, and is circumlocuting. She is not technically lying. She's just saying there are thoughts in her head, some of which are panic. And what she is going to say is, among us, we have some very important people. And when I say us, I mean the 5 graduates. We represent something that even the Triarchs can't compete with.
And what's that?
Friendship. Oh boy.
So I'm gonna roll a charisma saving throw.
Yeah, I'm going to say that it's disadvantaged because everybody had agreed to be in this zone of truth. So you're trying to get out of the zone of truth, right? Or you...
Well, I'm trying to be persuasive.
Okay.
I'm trying to be, I don't think it's a lie to say that Malveaux would consider taking me hostage a real win.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a lie to say that taking Belle hostage would be a real win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think also
I
with
do
Belle's...
think it's a lie that taking Colonian might not be seen as a win.
It occurs to me that with Belle's family, like obviously somebody was left behind as to run Jubilantia, but like with Belle's family out of commission, I think she is effectively the new mayor.
Mm-hmm.
Governor, right?
Mayor.
Mayor.
It's a fortified city.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, she's effectively the acting mayor of the singular stronghold that Malveaux could not take.
So sending us. So the intent here, is to like oversell a little. It's not to deceive so much as like to use political and marketing language to frame it effectively.
Okay. So then, yeah, I think I'm actually going to have you do a performance check on that.
Okay.
And I think that it's if you succeed, then you are able to talk your way around lying successfully.
Great. Okay. I rolled an 18.
Yeah, totally fine. Everybody's like, yeah, good point. Yeah, sure.
And while I'm not suggesting that we offer ourselves as hostages, I am suggesting we would be believable negotiators with some compelling reasons to get Okor to listen.
Gideon is going to step forward and kind of, you are so much smaller than he is. And he's going to get down on a knee and say, "Your parents will kill me if anything happens to you."
And Clarice is going to bare her teeth in what somebody else might think was an attempt at smiling, but what Uncle Gideon should recognize as the face she uses before she pulls her rapier.
Love it. I love it. You are all agreed to this encounter. You can choose when you, like, if you want to set off right away and how you want to travel there.
Before we go, has the zone of truth been dropped at all? Or?
So it's a 10-minute spell, so it's still very much active. I mean, in real time, we've been here for more than 10 minutes, but...
Okay, so Clarice is just gonna sort of ask Thistleodora to provide us with a diplomatic letter that indicates the desired extension time.
No problem.
What is the desired extension time?
Thistle is asking for 1 week.
Okay.
Can we put in those conditions just something about providing sustenance under the dome?
I feel like in the previous episode, you were told that nobody there, like everybody inside the dome would be taken care of. But yeah, I mean, you can definitely put that in there to, like, as a, you said that these people are not going to be harmed, but...
We need evidence. We need the equivalent of proof of life that has quality.
Yes. Okay. Great. So Thistle is going to just grab a piece of paper and a quill off of a desk, write a note for you. Clarva is going to step forward and produce a stamp to, like, notarize it, and then fold it and seal it using that same stamp so that it's clear that it's official. Is there anything that anybody needs to do before setting out, or does anybody feel that they feel strongly that they need to rest, or are you ready to go?
I don't think Belle needs to rest per se, but she definitely would want to, like, go back to her dorm room and, like, pack a bag.
Fair. I remember Belle does still have her,
She has her chakrams.
yes.
But, like, she probably doesn't have much more than that.
Mm-hmm. Probably wants to change clothes, too. Something a little
clothes.
bit more stealthy.
Maybe not Belle, more stealthy, but maybe just, like, less feathers.
Okay.
I bet there's a family robe or sort of ceremonial garment that would seem diplomatic to Belle.
She has a necklace, like a choker that has her family crest on it, that she wears all the time. But yes, she would probably wear something that maybe is a little bit more dignified.
I've already used 2 out of my 3 second-level spell slots, so I wouldn't mind a long rest.
Belle is going to look at the grown-ups and is going to say, can we have, like, horses or...
Clarva is going to say to you, I mean, you know as well as I do where the stables are. I can't imagine anybody's going to stop you from taking horses.
Yeah, okay, fair.
Clarice is gonna be like, all right, I'm still technically on the clock. So I'm just gonna... And as Clarice walks, she exits the zone of truth and her voice drops back into its affected. Like if anybody needs me or coffee, that's where I'll be.
So I'm like, I guess, the mayor now of Jubilantia, because mayors are inherited.
In Jubilantia, sure.
Yeah. And so maybe I should, like, send a letter home or something.
You'd already asked,
I know I did, but this is updated
Okay.
information.
Okay.
So Belle's gonna be like, do we want to, like, meet at the stables at a time or a place?
I wake up at 4.
So we want to meet at 5?
Yeah.
5?
AM?
Sounds good
Yeah.
to me.
She looks at each 5. Belle's going to look at Goff and is going to say, so, like, I think you could be helpful if you came with us, but also, like, ooh, trauma. So, totally up to you, but, like, 5?
You could not pay me to go back there. Good luck to all of you. I think I'm gonna go see if I can find my parents.
Super valid. If you end up in Jubilantia, just say my name.
I mean, it sounds amazing, and after I find my parents, that's the plan. So I'll see you soon?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Bye. She's gonna give another forehead kiss.
All right, so you're all going to long rest? Does anybody have anything they want to do prior to their long rest?
Belle's definitely gonna go back to her room and, like, change into traveling/diplomacy outfit and pack a bag and
You're going to change before you take your long rest, before you take a nap?
Well, she's going to change out of her performance outfit and maybe take off the several layers of makeup and glitter so that she only has the one layer of makeup and glitter and so on, and then she'll do her rest and whatnot.
Because she does have the naturally occurring glitter, too.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else have anything they need to do?
Yeah, I'd like to do an animal handling check to see if I can feed my oligarch butterfly friend Bananas one of these 2 dandelions that I picked an hour or 2 ago.
Okay.
12!
Yeah, I mean, the dandelion looks a little bit wilted, but you hold it up and your butterfly friend hops on and sips a little nectar.
Oh. Can I also look for more flowers of any assortment on the way back to wherever it is that I'm going to sleep, presumably?
Presumably back in your dorm room.
Right.
Yeah.
You didn't kick me out yet? Usually it's like, you gotta be out by 5 p.m.
I think they're a little bit... I mean, first of all...
The people who do the kicking
Who's
out
gonna
are
kick me out?
so
They're
busy.
stuck.
Yeah.
Alright, then yeah, how many... Nature check, how many flowers do I find?
Yeah, do a nature check.
Nice, 19.
All right, roll me a d6.
4!
You get 4 very beautiful large flowers on your way back to your dorm.
4 very beautiful large flowers. Just for my friend.
Anybody else?
I would also go back and, change clothes, start to get packed, and would probably take an hour or so to study the sword and attune to it.
Fantastic.
Clarice is gonna go to Enchanted Grounds and is going to, in a sort of meditative, ritualistic way, just clean all of the machines and power them down before locking up, going back to her room, and carving her name in the wall.
Okay.
Kelonian carries most of what he has with him, and so he's going to go back maybe with Clarice to Enchanted Grounds and hang out while she's cleaning up, and then go back to wherever he lives and sleep.
So the next morning, you all meet at the stables behind Sovereign House at 5 a.m. How are you all feeling?
Just as good as I did yesterday. I wonder if there are any squirrels to chase.
I feel fine.
Clarice is inappropriately hype.
Belle and Clarice have swapped personalities at this earlier hour. And Belle is just like,
In Clarice's bag from Enchanted Grounds that she packed up yesterday, she did set aside her mocha caramel syrup and a thermos of latte.
I think it was the thermos of espresso that you packed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's gonna just pull off the top of that thermos and mix a little small mocha caramel for Belle.
That's very thoughtful.
Belle very gratefully accepts it with like a cheerful grunt, like a and then just starts sipping.
How are Kelonian and Angel feeling?
Feeling good. Angel had a little breakfast of seeds, and so is hanging out in the little coop on my shell, ready for adventure. We're always ready for a traveling adventure.
As we approach each other, presumably at the stables, I will approach, Ruckus will approach Clarice and say,
Hello, Ruckus. Give you this.
and hands over the parchment with the minutes that he took from the meeting yesterday.
Amazing.
Clarice is going to accept the minutes, open them.
I can tell you what you see if you want.
Yeah. Tell me what I see.
Do you read dog folk shorthand?
No.
All right. It's more of a codex than it is notes. It's like a pictogram of sort of what Ruckus observed. It's a lot of stick figures of dogs chasing trees and squirrels and other things with occasional paw prints and dashes and dots interspersed throughout.
So Clarice is going to roll a performance check on how encouraging she
Yes.
is able to seem.
Yes.
She has rolled a 16.
I think that Ruckus believes that you're very grateful for
Okay.
his efforts.
And then Clarice is going to tuck that into her journal.
Okay.
I think you would know that you could ask another dog folk that is able to communicate in common what it says. You probably can't read it.
A small gnome steps out of the stables. It's the stable keeper. And he says, I've heard you're all here for horses. You can take whatever horses you need. Don't let them get hurt, okay? What? And also, just when I say whatever horses you need, I just mean one each. Not like all of the horses.
I was going to take all the horses. New friends.
Clarice is going to look at each of the names on the different stalls and inspect the horses for sociability around halflings. Do any of them seem to think that she is edible, etc.? And is looking for a horse that communicates a wild spirit in terms of like its vocalizations, right? One that is hopefully like, if not screaming, at least like making a lot of chit chat in the stable, but also does not try to eat her hair.
Can I just say, I feel like Belle has probably spent a non-zero... I feel like Belle knows her way around these particular stables.
Belle has knows her way around these tables, but Belle has also probably taken dressage classes at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Belle knows her way around stables,
Yes.
period. But I think she also knows, I think she knows the stable hand's name.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, but I think she does. And I think she knows the horses.
Do a history check.
3.
You don't remember the stable hand's name.
Sure.
It's one of those like, hey, you long time sort of things.
I'm gonna make the proposal that Belle probably should roll with advantage for history check for knowing the horses.
I think that that's fair.
Because they're pretty horsies. That's an 11.
You know that the horse that Clarice is standing in front of is named Flashheart. Mm-hmm. That is an all black horse with a white stripe right down its forehead, and its tail has like just some white hairs in it as well. Flashheart is an older horse. That's why you remember that horse's name, because like you've seen this horse many times. Next to Flashheart, there is a small paint mare named Pansy, and those are the horses whose names you remember.
Cool. I'm gonna do my best to work with Hey You and my understanding of the horses to help people who maybe are less familiar with horses find an appropriate match.
Yeah, I actually, just for the record, the chatty horse that won't eat my hair, I am looking for specifically for Ruckus. So I don't think you need to.
Okay.
I just thought Ruckus would enjoy a horse that sort of talked a lot.
I'll wait for my turn, but yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe else wants to.
Having grown up in a place where we also had stables and horses, but everything was very practical there. Andric would be looking for a horse that looks both sturdy and calm, above all things.
Roll me a perception check.
Certainly. 15.
With a 15, you hear horsey noises coming from the way back, and there's something about the tone of that particular whinny that kind of calls to you. It sounds maybe like a horse that you knew.
Sure.
And you see as you walk toward the back, you see a large quarter horse, kind of just reddish brown in color, all one color, but slightly darker toward the face. And the name on the stable says Hogan. Does that seem like the right horse for you?
I'll put my hand kind of very cautiously kind of over the stable door and just see how he reacts to me putting my hand out.
Roll an animal handling check, and I'll say with advantage, because, I mean, these horses are all very used to people. Or to visitors.
Dirty 20.
Oh, with a dirty 20, the horse, nuzzles right into your hand and gives you, a little... I don't know if you've ever been around a horse that's done this, but gives you, the littlest horsey nibble, a really affectionate sort of nibble.
And is this the kind of stable where there are kind of, I'll say, feed bags between the stalls?
Yeah.
So I'll as he's doing that, I'll, reach my hand over to the feed bag nearest and just pull out a small handful to cup in my hands and offer to Hogan.
Okay, Hogan is your horse. Belle, do you want to try and play horse matchmaker?
Yeah, I mean, I imagine Belle has a preferred horse. I don't know which one it is, but I imagine she has a preferred horse. And then after that, obviously Andric seems to have it under control. So I think she would probably check in on Kelonian to see if, he feels like he's got it figured out or if he needs any help. She just genuinely wants to be helpful.
I imagine Kelonian not being big on riding horses. He's got a big shell, it doesn't seem like something that... what would that slow everybody down if Kelonian walked alongside the horse, or is it basically the same?
It would definitely slow everyone down.
Well then Kelonian will ride a horse. So he's gonna need to look for a horse that seems
maybe a draft horse.
Yeah, very sturdy.
I mean, this is a world where there are a lot of different body shapes, so I have to imagine that there are horses being kept on hand for that purpose.
Yeah, there's definitely a really large Clydesdale, at its shoulder, because that's how they measure horses' height, is to the shoulder. It's 6.5 feet tall. It's massive. And its name is Rainstep, which seems like this very gentle, delicate name for such a massive horse. Do you want to do an animal handling check?
Oh, I would love to. I'm pretty good at animal handling. Hello, Rainstep. How are you? Rainstep, maybe I could play a little ditty.
Yes. And you're going to roll with advantage here.
I want to know, have you ever seen the Rainstep coming down from the stables?
All right. Animal handling check with advantage.
With advantage. Okay, good. Oh, not that good. 13.
I think with a 13, the horse gives you a little bit of side eye. And, like, it doesn't seem averse to you, but is not as enthusiastic as Hogan had been with Andric.
Clarice is gonna invite Ruckus over and point at the horse that was chatty and be like, "This one?"
Woo! Is it my turn now?
Yeah, so that was Flashheart.
Great. I'm going to cast Speak with Animals. I'm going to duck behind one of the stall sides to do it so that nobody else sees me cast the spell. I'm going to cast that spell. I'll do that. And then I'll go to Flash Step.
Flashheart.
And say, and to the rest of you, it'll all just sound like, but to Flashheart, it's going to sound like, "Good morning, how's it going, Flashheart? Is that your real name, or is that just the name the humans gave you?"
Flashheart is a little bit on the older side, but is still, pretty active, spry horse. Like, you have an awful lot of energy for this early in the morning.
Oh, I had some bananas this morning. They were great. Do you want one? I have some extra ones in my bag.
You know what? Yes, actually, I will take a banana.
All right, here you go. Woo! He pulls out a banana, he peels it, and gives it to Flashheart. Pretty good, right?
Yeah, that was actually really good.
Oh, they're my favorite.
So, what can I do for Ruckus, you said?
Pooch and Ruckus, that's me.
What can I do for you today, Ruckus?
I'd like to know which among your friends here has been cooped up the longest and really could use a good day out.
He kind of sways his head over to the stall next to him and is like, that would be Pansy.
Pansy? Okay, goodbye. I'm going to go over to Pansy. Hello, Pansy. Good morning. How you doing?
Hello.
Oh, have you had breakfast yet?
I mean, I had oats.
Oh, is Pansy your real name, or is that just the name humans gave you?
I mean, it's the name I've known my whole life.
Would you like a better one?
No, I think Pansy's okay.
That's okay. Would you like a banana?
Yes.
Oh, hey, here you go. I'll peel a banana.
Ruckus, which of these two horses do you want to take with you?
Oh, it's going to be Pansy.
Okay.
Pansy looks like could use a little bit of a stretch of the legs. I'd be happy to help.
And Clarice now is going to turn to the stable keeper and ask, "Do you have any of those, like, Icelandic horses? You know, the really small ones that are, like, extra furry?"
The stable keeper is going to say, well, I don't exactly know where Iceland is, and I don't think I know what you're talking about. All of our horses are normal-sized horses.
I'm looking for, like, max 14 hands.
Maybe you can convince your friend over there that you should be riding Pansy?
I'll see if they have a max 14 hands named horse somewhere.
They have hooves, not hands. 14 would be a lot.
Ruckus. I'm very small.
Yes.
Can I please ride the very small horse?
Yes.
Thanks.
And Pansy says to Ruckus, oh, thank God, you're quite large for me.
Oh, I wasn't going to ride you. I'm going to run alongside. It seems like a great day for a run.
So, Ruckus, do you want a horse at all?
No, I just wanted to get Pansy out. So
Okay.
Pansy could have a nice little run.
Well, all right. So, Clarice is going to have Pansy then. And that leaves Belle.
I assume Belle has a preferred horse.
Flashheart is one that you recognize. You've definitely ridden Flashheart before. You can't remember all of the other horses particularly well, so either you can choose Flashheart because you know him, or you can choose another horse based on their aesthetic.
I mean, I think she would choose Flashheart because she knows him.
Good choice. All right.
And I feel like Flashheart is the one who made the comment to Ruckus about having a lot of energy early in the morning, right?
Yes.
None of you would have understood that conversation.
I know that she would not have understood it, but I feel like her
the
soul
vibe.
understands that this horse also does not want to be up this early.
Okay. The stable hand helps you all to get equipped, and you are all going to set off for the Alcazar. Ruckus running alongside the rest of you on your horses. Somebody do a... Actually, who's got the highest passive perception?
Not me.
15.
You're higher than mine.
Okay. So with a 15, the thing that you notice most is how quiet it is as you head out of town and toward the woods. Normally, like, you're going through the kind of commercial center of the capital city. So you would see it's quite early in the morning, but at least you would probably see like bakers, florists, people whose days start early. And there are a few people out and about, but nobody seems particularly hurried to do much of anything. You know, you don't smell baking bread or anything. It doesn't seem like life is normal. Everyone is affected by what happened yesterday. You don't perceive any danger to you as you take your hour-long ride to the Alcazar.
Well, seems like they just need a pick-me-up song then. Maybe that'll make me feel better.
Yes, do you want to play a traveling song? You
I
don't
know
have
a song.
to.
Maybe. Colonian's willing to help me. So this is one of Ruckus's favorite songs. It's called All Best Boys Go to Poochtown. 5, 6, 5, 6, 7. And it repeats like that. For the entire hour.
Beautiful.
Okay, well, if it's for the entire hour, I'm going to need a party stealth check.
Critical fail, I think well earned.
6.
I rolled an 18.
Belle got a dirty 20.
Andric?
14.
All right, the 3 high rolls are enough to even get past that dirty 20. So you arrive on the grounds of the Alcazar, which are in the woods north of Shalamir. The grounds are really sprawling. Think of like if you've seen like an English garden or even like Versailles. There are a lot of fountains. There are a lot of what clearly had been hedgerows and topiaries. But it's been 30 years since anyone was known to occupy this space. And so it's lots of weeds, brackish water in the fountains that's clearly been, like water that came from the rain and then didn't have any place to go. So it started to turn black and it's a little smelly. And it does seem like there's nobody there. But this is where Goff told you that you could find Lucinda O'Cour and at least her 2 bodyguards, maybe some others. And as you go through the garden and you approach the front door, it swings open. What do you do?
Sorry, is this like a gate to the premises? Or
No,
the door?
you've been walking through the gardens. So as you're walking closer and closer to the manor, the house, the door opens.
I'm gonna look for a spot to hitch Hogan because I don't think the horse is getting into the house.
Do an investigation check.
11.
There's some wrought iron fencing off to the sides of the garden, and it looks sturdy enough that you can throw the reins over. What does everybody else do with their horses?
I'm going to do an animal handling check to see if the oligarch butterfly is willing to just continue to hang out with me if I need to recast animal friendship.
All right, go for it.
All right. Yeah, 13?
Yeah, the oligarch butterfly is still hanging out with you, although
New friend.
it doesn't
Burn a spell slot on him.
doesn't seem thrilled about the dark, gross, overgrown surroundings. There aren't like
Any flowers around?
you might still have the flowers, some of the flowers that you picked yesterday.
But they're none in the garden here. Is that
No,
right?
there are none in the garden.
Oh, well, then I'll give him one of my big, beautiful flowers to eat. That'll be good.
Okay.
Now it's a critical fail. Hopefully he figures out what to do.
With a critical fail, I will say that the butterfly flies off of. Was he riding on your shoulder? Or is
Running
that...
in a little hat.
Oh right,
Black
okay.
bucket
So
hat.
he was in your little hat.
I'm trying to give him the little flower.
Yeah. He can tell that the flower is old, having been picked yesterday, and he's going to like fly out of your hat and just go land on the fencing near the horse. Not flying away, just not interested in.
I'm gonna chill over here.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll come get you in a little bit.
Okay. What does everybody else do with their horses?
Keylonian is probably not one to want to tie up this horse.
I think that's fair.
And so, but we'll do a maybe animal handling check to see if he needs to clarify that with the horse, or
Okay.
if the horse will stay around.
Okay.
Does that sound okay? All right. So, 18 animal handling check.
I think with an 18, the horse understands that you've hopped off of it. There's another horse there that's kind of tied up to the fencing. It knows that it's not supposed to just wander off.
Great.
Yeah, Bella's gonna tie hers up. She's gonna like unsaddle it. She's gonna like rub it down. She's just like gonna take a few minutes to do the whole, make sure there's feed, put
Okay.
some feed out for the other horses.
It's very thoughtful of you.
Yeah.
While Bella's doing that, Clarice is also gonna remove the bridle and the saddle, and just use a little of her water bottle to just rinse where the saddle was to make sure that there's no sweat or caked on.
Okay. So horses are put up. This door swung open as you rode up. So the door's been sitting there open for a couple of minutes. What do you do?
Clarice is going to do a history check.
Okay.
And what she's going to check for is whether or not she remembers the, like, during the Malveaux time, like, what the drum fanfare was that they used, because Clarice has her hand drum and would like to announce their presence
Okay.
in the appropriate manner.
Okay. Yeah, roll a history check.
Big when in Rome vibes.
That is a 15.
For a 15, you've definitely heard recordings of Malveaux's entry music before. It involves more than a drum, but with your 15 though, you can definitely like get the rhythm of it. Yeah.
Okay. So Clarice is going to pull out the hand drum.
Great. So Clarice is drawing attention to all of you. This door is open. What else are we doing?
Well, I'm going to do maybe a perception check.
Okay.
See what's going on there. Perception of 8.
Door opened.
I'll
There's a
do
door
an
over there.
Arcana check. 16.
There is nobody in the immediate vicinity who opened that door, so that door definitely was opened through some sort of magical effect. Probably a proximity effect that had been set up to open as you neared.
Can we tell if anyone seems to be observing us either from windows or like just in the area? Like,
Perception check.
I'll use the help action, so you can have advantage, Ross.
natural 20.
For a nat 20,
24 total.
okay.
Ruckus does like his little like beagle point with his full body towards whatever it is that Jill's about to say.
I love it. It is clear to you that this area is not uninhabited. You get a feeling like the hairs on the back of your neck are sticking up. You're definitely being watched. If you stand back and look up toward the windows, you'll notice that, like, because this house has been abandoned for 30 years, most of the windows are pretty clouded. But you see that one of the windows seems like it had been recently wiped to allow somebody to view down into the courtyard. You also hear some distant footsteps inside of the house.
Ruckus points and says,
You! Look. This.
And I'm just going to make a mental note of where in the house layout that seems to be. Just so when we get inside, as I'm trying to like read the layout of the house, just keep a mental note of where that room is.
Yeah. Okay. It's like it's right over the front door. So if you think of like a classical manor that has the center mass door with the like long kind of like the 4x4 setup. So like there are rooms off to the sides. So it'll be, if you can remember, like if you have your bearings in the building,
Directly
it's
over the front door. Got it.
Belle has the lack of self-preservation that can only come with being extremely privileged.
Okay.
And so she is going to just sort of, put on her best posture, her air of dignity, and she's just gonna stride on in. Because the door was opened, so clearly she was invited.
Sure.
And Clarice has anticipated that this would occur, and is using the hand drum to announce Belle's presence, walking directly behind Belle.
Okay.
I'll get in on that action.
Are you? So you're gonna play?
You said it's like a march.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A jaunty march, because it is Belle.
Oh, okay.
As she's marching in, I'm going to keep an eye on our rear and just make sure we don't get flanked from behind.
Probably very smart. So you go in, and the hall is empty.
I'll be in the middle of the group on hind legs.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is nobody there to greet you. But somebody can do an investigation check here and see if there's anything that you notice in this massive entry hall that you're standing in.
Belle won't do that, but she will, stop sort of in the center, and she'll be like,
Nothing.
and then we'd expect them. Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah.
It was worth a shot.
How's your investigation, Rose?
My investigation is actually pretty good, but I'm still basically rear guard at this
Right.
point.
All right, I'll do it.
Okay.
Okay, 16.
For a 16, you can smell the distinct smell of matches that have recently been put out. And they seem to be coming from an alcove just off to your left, which is where the big winding staircase is.
What is it, Ruckus?
Run up and do a little schnauzer point.
Oh, Ruckus seems to be pointing over to that little alcove over there. What do you smell, Ruckus?
Yes.
20 bark buttons.
Belle will go over to the alcove and check it out.
After entering the house, does the door automatically close behind us, or can I actually close the door?
The door closes behind you.
When it closes, I'm just going to put my hand on the knob and see if I can open it, or if we're now locked in.
Do an Arcana check.
10.
It doesn't give way easily.
That's a DM non-answer if I ever heard one.
So
That's what you get on a 10.
Yeah.
So, Belle, you walked over to the alcove where you saw where Ruckus was pointing. And what you see are freshly lit taper candles. You can tell they're freshly lit because they're still very tall. There is evidence that there have been other candles here probably pretty recently because there's a lot of other fallen wax. And you know how candles get kind of chippy? Well, yeah, and they also get kind of dull because dust just kind of is attracted to the wax. So there doesn't seem to be any coating of dust on the fallen wax that's there. So it's pretty clear. I'm not going to make you roll for this. It's pretty clear that there have been candles lit in this place recently, and the candle that is lit there has also just been lit.
Can I ask, what's the lighting situation overall?
Well, so it's daytime, and there is a big stained glass dome over this entry that's letting in a lot of filtered light. And there are windows that face out to the front gardens. The windows are dirty, so you're still getting filtered light, but it's not dark.
Sure. I guess I mean, for these candles, is it the candles are part of the lighting, or is it there's the general light and then there's the candles? You know what I mean?
I do. Yeah, just roll me an investigation check.
12.
You look to your right, which is the direction so you're standing to the left of the stairs. As you look to your right, you're looking up the stairs, and you see that there are more candles lit, kind of cycling up the stairs.
Oh, it's a path.
Perhaps.
That's what she's just going to say out loud.
Yeah.
But laid down by who, I wonder? Whom? Laid down by whom?
What do you all do?
Clarice is going to continue the drumming.
Okay.
But is going to move towards the stairs.
Yep.
And is going to begin a sort of litany that she's going to repeat as they walk,
Okay.
in which she says, we are emissaries of the current people of Urvara, and we come seeking an audience with the attaché to the premier in exile. We are emissaries of the people of Urvara, and we come seeking an audience with the attaché to the premier in exile.
Performance check.
Can I use the help action on that?
Yeah, I think that
You were strumming it, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for your help. Thank you for your help. 23.
At the top of the stairs, another door swings open, and you hear a voice that, as somebody who's grown up in political circles and as somebody who's studied a bit of history, you recognize as the voice of Lucinda O'Cor. She says, "Come on in, y'all. I'm ready to talk to you." So you're ascending the stairs, and you've just heard the voice of Lucinda O'Cor inviting you to come on in.
As we ascend, I'm going to say to Clarice, you are still the chief negotiator, right?
Yeah.
I have every bit of confidence in you. I'm giving Clarice bardic inspiration.
Okay. Cool. So you ascend the stairs, and you find yourselves in the 3-story library of the Alcazar. Books from floor to ceiling on 3 of the walls. The 4th wall is windows. That's where, and it's directly above the entry. So that is where, when Andrew had looked up and seen that one of the windows had been recently wiped clear, that was the window.
So from the exterior, how many stories high is this whole building?
5. So there's the ground floor, and then there are three stories of like living space and an attic, but the attic still adds height. So the library is 3 whole stories. You can only access it from the 2nd floor. All right, so standing in the middle of the room, you see Lucinda O'Cor, who's a tall elven woman, and you recognize her because even though none of you were alive during the autocracy, there's been plenty of historical documentation. She's flanked on one side by a male Goliath and on the other side by a female dwarf. Somebody roll a perception check.
I'll use the help action.
Okay. That's a 15.
So the 15, because Ruckus helped you, you notice that Ruckus is sniffing around the air and kind of looks toward the heavy curtains that are on either side of the windows. So it's safe to assume he notices something.
There is more than we are seeing.
There is more than you are seeing. Like, what do you do? Lucinda is just standing there.
I draw my sword, I say, "How now, a rat?" and I stab through the curtain. I don't have a sword, and I don't do those
I was
things.
going to say, are we rolling for initiative?
I'll pull
no,
a
I
Jim
just
Comey
couldn't- I
and try to
s-
blend into the curtain.
Listen, I saw my chance to make a Shakespeare reference, and I took it.
Although I am incredibly small, I am going to attempt to do like half curtsy bow thing.
Okay.
I'm a little short and squat, so that's why it's attempt rather than certainty that I will succeed.
Okay.
I feel like it's a proportional.
Yeah,
short
yeah. I mean,
squat.
you're not. It's not like you're so top heavy that you're gonna tip over or something.
Yeah, no.
No.
and you're not just like a head on spindly legs.
No.
So I'm gonna incline
Okay.
slightly
Okay.
towards Lucinda Okor, and I'm going to cease my drumming and cease my pronouncement of our purpose, and using a history check, I'm going to see if I remember with my 18 the name of the equivalent of like the Geneva Convention in this world. What like the like, are there brokering terms? Are there like for hostile party negotiations? Are there any sort of like don't poison the diplomat rules?
It was the Shalimere Peace Accords. Now, that being said, with your history check, you will also remember that Okor had already been arrested by that point. So whether she considers herself beholden to the Accords.
Okay. So knowing all of that, I am going to say we come in the spirit of the Shalimere Peace Accords, wherein we offer ourselves and our honest dealings to discuss with you your recent missive and to offer terms of engagement. And in turn, we ask if you will abide by the laws currently enforced in Urvara, understanding that you may dispute their foundation, but recognizing that basic understanding and respect is necessary to all successful negotiations, wherewith we must operate openly in our dealings and have a certain assumption of safety in order to proceed in good faith. Do you accept these terms and understand what is being asked of you?
Roll a perception check.
That's a 19.
Okay, so with your perception check, you notice that Lucinda looks extremely bored, but also slightly amused. And she's just going to stand there and wait until you're finished. And you finish by asking her if she understands and agrees. And she's going to say, "My darling, if you're only here to talk, let's talk."
As a show of good faith, the people of Urvara have sent young, non-governmentally employed emissaries. All we are here to do is to talk and offer terms. However, we don't want to die, so could you, promise that's not on the table, please?
Yes, as a token of respect, we've sent these amateur schmucks to deal with you instead of sending the real people. So in case you do want to kill somebody, we'll just lose the amateur schmucks. This will be fine.
And while Clarice was doing her spiel, quickly sizing up the bodyguards, do they seem to be I'll say more martial? Are they armored? Are they wearing do they have visible weapons on them? Or might they be more subtle in their style of protection?
They both have weapons. I mean, if you want to roll to see if you notice anything else.
Sure. Perception?
Yeah.
That's an 8.
Yeah, no, you just see that they both have weapons. And Lucinda looks back to Clarice and says, "I don't believe in making promises I can't keep, but I will tell you I have no intention of harming any of y'all, as long as y'all don't try to harm me."
Oh, excellent, because I'm a bard, and so is everyone. We literally, we're just here to talk, and yeah.
Yes.
Lucinda steps back and takes the measure of your party. She says, "Oh, y'all are so cute. What's the matter? All of the older, more experienced, more qualified people stuck under that dome?"
Yes.
No, not all of them, but that's actually kind of why we're here. It's that we, as the people of Rivara, have not had time to get all of the triarchs that you have requested, and there are certain logistics which must be considered in terms of the peaceful transfer of power, and you have given us less time than the people feel we are able or rather not able, than the people feel we need in order to enact a peaceful and safe transfer. So yes, we're young, but we are authorized agents of the people, and we come in peace to ask for an extension and for a good faith gesture regarding the energy dome, such that we will be able to actually meet your terms. But we can't, we literally can't right now because they're too far away.
Lucinda looks at all of the rest of you and says, anyone want to put that in common for me?
Yeah. So we hear you, and we totally would like to, fulfill your request, but we need more time because, we literally can't right now.
If you think about it, sending recent graduates to ask for an extension is actually sending the masters to work. We are so good at asking for extensions at this point.
Why should I give you an extension?
Well, I'll tell you. You know, I gather from your message to us that you seem to be in a bit of I would say desperation. Not desperation in a sort of a weak sense, but a desperation in the sense of you're willing to go to extreme ends to get what you're looking for. You trapped a lot of people under a dome. Given the letter that you sent, I can see that you want to really have a sort of a whole change in order. It seems like to this country, world, this place where we live. You seem to want to make a really big change, and I may not agree with it, but certainly we can agree that if you want to make a big change to everything, it's going to take a little bit of time. You can't just do it. Don't want to rush it. Don't want to rush into it. Just make it a big change all of a sudden.
And if I may interject, you know what happened last time there was a transfer of power, and you know that there are many constituencies that opposed the previous administration, and in order to ensure that those constituencies are managed and do not create future issues, we need time to seek out, communicate with, negotiate with, and pacify all potential opposition, as you thoroughly understand.
You understand? Question mark?
Also, you already have everybody under the dome. You clearly have a plan for what to do, if we don't follow through. So, why not just give us the time?
We're only asking for 1 week, and we are operating with complete transparency. If you would like, I can cast a zone of truth, only with your permission, of course. But we are here fully transparently just to offer our best cooperation and a request for an extra week.
I hear you talk about the last time there was a transfer of power. You could call it that. I call it the overthrow of our country's premier, who you then strung up on the steps of this very house.
Oh, now, I'm going to ask you just for a moment. I am very interested, and I would like to hear all of the experience that you had, because I am sure that your feelings are valid. But I do want to remind you that I am 22 years old and legit was not there. None of us were.
I don't mean you specific. I mean your people.
Right, but I as you are dealing with us, we are the future of the country, and it is important that you understand that as emissaries, we are operating on behalf of the people of Urvara.
Ruckus begins to chase his own tail.
And as representatives of the people, there are many, many individuals, families, even cities that were not involved in the last situation.
The last situation put me in a dark prison cell. The last situation killed my best friend.
Oh my god. Oh my god. That, like, I'm so sorry. I don't know why your best friend died.
My best friend is Phineas Malveaux.
Oh my god. I've heard of him. But, like, that's terrible.
He's okay though, right? He's back, so like...
Oh, he is most assuredly back.
So, you know, like...
Wait, I thought you said he was killed. I'm confused.
He was executed. That doesn't mean he didn't come back.
He got better?
So, like, your best friend's back, but you're mad at people who weren't there? I'm just trying to understand. Like, truly, like, speak your truth, babe. Like, you do.
She's going to snap her fingers and roll me a charisma saving throw.
It is a 23.
Okay, well, you feel for a moment your lips sort of start to stick together, but then they release. She was trying to get you to shut up.
Babe, I'm ready to listen.
I don't understand why you keep calling me babe.
It's like, I would hope that you would also feel comfortable calling me, like, the one
I've
or
been calling
shorty.
you darling since you got here.
Oh, but like, I would like to feel like you and I, like, we're going to understand each other. And so, like, it is appropriate to call me shorty.
Bless your heart.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you've been calling us darlings, and, like, seems like you sort of put nicknames out on the table.
Yeah, so, babe, speak your truth.
What would it take to give us an extra week to consider or sort of come to an agreement about your demands?
Your accent. You're from the South? If you're from the same part of the country as I am, you know how important it is for folks to keep their words.
Oh, well, I do agree. It's important for folks to keep their words.
The folks of this country swore an oath of fealty to Phineas Malveaux. They didn't keep their word.
You know, I bet if we were being honest with each other, you and I, sort of keeping our word to be honest here, I'm sure you might confess to maybe not always keeping your word.
To Phineas, I did.
But to, like, the nation you are talking about?
I don't remember promising y'all anything.
Well, as I mentioned before, as I asked, what would it take? What would it take for you to give us an extra week to consider?
I can give you all access VIP passes.
Belle,
Yes.
not yet. Save it.
What are you offering?
You have all the power. What do you want?
Y'all know what I want.
Excuse me. We are asking very specifically what you want in exchange for a 1 week extension.
In exchange for 1 week extension. That's a mighty generous offer you're asking me to make you.
I think you are not understanding how much work we're offering to do
I want
in
a
that
hostage.
week. Okay, so let's just be clear. When you say hostage, do you mean literally anyone that you could hold?
Also, like, don't you already have, like, a lot of hostages in a dome?
Yeah, like all of them.
How many more do you need?
Yeah.
Like, those are some quality hostages.
They're collateral.
Is it... Bella's gonna, like, look at Clarice and be like, hostages are collateral, right? Though there... Is that...
Yes.
Okay.
You
yeah?
are correct.
Okay, cool.
Help me understand. Help me help you.
The folks in the dome, either they don't matter at all, or they matter a whole hell of a lot. But either way, if the dome gets destroyed tomorrow, I only see that helping my cause. I want a valuable hostage.
Okay, but, like, valuable to who?
Bring me Thistleodora.
Okay, so how much time are you offering us to get Thistleodora, convince her to come here, and then leave her with you, and then go begin doing the work that we have asked for a minimum of 7 days to complete, of convincing the many potential opponents of this move to get on board? Because I would like to be fully upfront with you that, like, I am good at managing my time, but there is a lot of travel involved in this request.
All right, well, that was a very bad roll on Lucinda's part.
Which is good for us, right?
It's good for you. Yeah. So Lucinda looks at you, and she sees you're clearly not standing down, even though she's pretty much tuned out most of what you've got to say. She sees that you're not standing down. She says, I'll tell you what. We'd originally asked for all 3 of the Triarchs to surrender themselves by midnight tonight. If Thistleodora walks through the front door of the Alcazar by midnight tonight, we'll give you your week.
Starting from the moment Odora enters?
Sure.
And are we measuring a week? Like, it? Can you be precise? Like you know, like when somebody says, like, I'll give you a week. Like, some people mean just like the business days, and some people include the weekends.
7 moonrises.
Cool. And when Thistleodora comes, are you suggesting that nobody stays here to, like, you know, communicate with us?
She should come alone.
But, like, just, like, no sending stone? Like, no, like, how are we gonna communicate with you about our progress if you just have, like, Thistle? Could we, like, leave somebody nearby who could just, like, you know, talk to you sometimes?
Roll me a history check.
That's a 24.
Lucinda gestures to this black, sort of opalescent rectangle set in the wall. You recognize it as an echo shard. Echo shards were telecommunications devices that were installed into every building in Udvara during the Malveaux administration, and they were basically used for official broadcasts from Malveaux at least once a day, sometimes more. So think like Big Brother. After the fall of the autocracy, some very enterprising members of the resistance who were helping to form the new government saw that this technology existed everywhere and decided that what they should do is basically start a radio broadcast network in Udvara. Currently, there are only 3 stations. There is a news broadcast station, there is a music station that plays more contemporary music, so music from the last 30 years, but trending toward like maybe the last 10 years. And then there's a station that plays music that predates the autocracy, so music from 60 years ago or more. And Lucinda is pointing to this to indicate that this system might also actually be a way of her being able to show you or to prove to you that Odora is still alive while being held as a hostage.
Okay. I think I'm picking up what you're putting down, but I just want to check that you're asking me to, on good faith, trust you that you're not going to magic Adora's voice. And that feels like a very big leap of faith when you're currently holding everybody's loved ones and more than half the government under an energy dome. Because, like, I mean, bae, like, that is some proper magic use. Well done. Very impressive. # boss bitch.
What if I told you that I'd allow a reporter from the Echo Shard News Network to come here at 6 a.m. every day to interview Odora and broadcast it to the nation?
I would say that sounds like a pretty solid offer. Are you telling me that? Or is that just like a hypothetical?
Kelonian's like giving a thumbs up. Like, take it, take it.
If you think Odora will agree to those terms, sure.
Okay, but like, babe, you've already said that you don't feel like you've made any promises to the nation that you have not broken. And so I'm going to ask you, girl to girl, like, can I get your word?
You have my word that Odora will not be harmed for 7 moonrises, starting tonight. But she has to come alone.
Okay. I mean, there was another part, which was like that you wouldn't, do anything for those 7 moonrises in terms of like the nation. Are you on board?
I promise you that I will not do anything during those 7 days.
I don't appreciate your choice of words, so I'm going to offer you some language. And if you are willing to use the language, then I will consider your word granted. Repeat after me if you feel comfortable. I, Lucinda O'Core,
She just stares at you impassively.
as the attaché to the Premier in Exile, Malveaux,
She's still staring at you.
speak on behalf of all supporters of Malveaux and Malveaux in any form he may take. And I pledge that we will afford the people of Urvara a full 7 moonrises before we enact any of the actions we have threatened to perform in order to exchange the current administration and the lives of the Triarchs for the Premier in Exile.
I told you at the beginning, I don't believe in making promises I can't keep. But I will tell you that I will not enact any further action on behalf of Malveaux for those 7 moonrises if Odora comes here willingly and alone.
Okay, but like, is somebody else going to kill our families under the dome? Because like, that's what we're getting at here.
Your families are safe for now.
For now, but like, for the 7 moonrises or until midnight tomorrow?
Your families. She looks at you. She studies you for a moment. Your family is just fine.
Okay, but like, you still have not assured us of anything. So I don't feel like we're dealing openly right now.
Do a persuasion check.
Okay. I am, so that gets me to a 14, and then I'm going to add my bardic inspiration. I'm at a 19.
I will not sign off on any harm coming to your families.
Has anything already been put into motion?
No.
Magically or otherwise?
I mean, the dome is magic.
You know, I got that. Thank you.
As long as your people don't try to end the dome, I promise that for those 7 days, no harm is going to come to anyone inside of the dome.
What about outside?
I promise that I won't sign off on anything.
And you haven't already?
I haven't already.
Can we just, like, is there like a room where we could just like very quickly touch base with each other? Because like, yes, I am the chief negotiator, but like, we're a team.
She looks at the dwarf beside her and says, Millie, you want to show him to the parlor? And the dwarf beckons all of you to follow her down the hall to a smaller room. And as she exits, you hear the door locking behind you.
Well, I think this seems like progress to me. I don't know if our leader's going to go for it, but at least we got something.
She's bluffing. She has no leverage.
Wait, which of us has no leverage? Are you talking about me? Because I feel like that went really well.
She has no leverage. Do you really believe Malveaux is back?
I believe that there will always be undercurrents of dissent in this country, no matter what the administration.
Exactly. If Malveaux were ready to reclaim power, why wouldn't he just do it? Why this elaborate show?
Okay, so that's really nice and all, but like my family is under the dome, so I'd really like for whatever we do to not involve my family getting portaled to a different dimension in like 24 hours or so.
And to be clear, we also are tacitly agreeing to not attempt to remove the dome. That was very clearly a part of what she said.
Wasn't explicit though, so...
No, she definitely... Belle, like, I'm telling you. She said it.
Yes.
And, like, I think that is a massive concession on our part. So, thoughts?
We don't really know what the plan is, right? We're buying time, but we don't really know what we're buying time for.
Accurate, yes. We are here to show good faith and request time.
Ruckus, roll me a perception check.
10.
Okay.
So, Andric, are you saying we should not agree to these terms? Because, like, if so, what's your suggestion?
I just don't understand why Thistle would agree to this.
Right, but this is not for us to decide. We have come to negotiate terms, and Lucinda has told us her terms, and so, like, should we?
We'll take the terms back to Thistle, but I think we should be prepared for her to not agree.
Okay, I understand that. Ruckus?
Yes.
Do you have concerns?
No.
Great. Belle?
Yeah.
You are kind of important in this because, like, your family would have to stay under the dome.
Yeah.
You good with that?
I mean, I'm better with it than them being plane shifted.
Okay. And Colonian, you feel like this is a good deal?
Well, I don't know if it's such a good deal, but I think it's the deal we got, and I think we got to bring it back.
Okay. Wherever you are, people, I'm sure you were listening. Can we please go give your message to Thistle now?
The door immediately opens, and the dwarf who led you into the room is standing there, and she just walks you toward the staircase.
I'm gonna get out my hand drum.
Play ourselves out.
Yes. I'm gonna do the same processional, but as a recessional, so I'm just gonna shift anything that was major to minor. Right.
Gonna play it backwards. We're gonna walk backwards out the door.
Drumming along,
All right.
walking, vibing.
Walk down the stairs unimpeded. The door swings open as you approach it. You step outside. Your horses are still there. There's something else there, too. Out of the shadows, a large figure emerges. And Ruckus, I'd like you to roll me another perception check.
Nat 20.
Your ears perk up.
Ooh!
Your hackles start to stand up a little bit. Your tail puffs up.
Ooh, it's all puffy now.
You recognize the scent of another dog folk.
Ooh, finally!
Stepping out of the shadows.
Finally get this. Can I? Ruckus goes.
You! Dogfolk? Question mark?
It all comes back. You all made fun of me for asking everybody I met. It was all for this moment.
I stand by it.
Stepping out of the shadows, you see what looks like, for us as players, a large version of a husky. She has gray and white fur, and as she gets closer, you see that she has 2 different colored eyes. Knowing that, Ruckus, you would immediately know that this is Nova, who is the best bow that came before you, but is still in your generation. Bards, on seeing this, is there anything in particular, like, would anybody like to take a from a distance? Of course, she looks a little scary, but like, would you like to roll to see if there's anything that you notice?
Aquilonia must know if she's got bark buttons.
No.
Oh.
No, Ruckus is just stupid. Not stupid. He's not stupid.
Clarice knows a decent amount of the history of the dog folk from her parents. I'm not sure if it requires a check or not, but she would recognize the heterochromia as the indicator. And so I think her next move is to try to perceive how Ruckus is responding, and sort of follow any protocols that Ruckus knows in terms of greeting.
Okay.
Nat 20 plus 3.
Ruckus bows. Very
So
deep doggy bow.
Clarice,
A bow wow.
A bow wow to the beast bow.
Clarice is gonna curtsy and sort of eyeball everybody else in the party to say, like, this is the thing that we should do out of respect.
Do the rest of you bow or curtsy?
Yes, I bow wow.
Belle is going to curtsy.
So you curtsy?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Not a full bow, but definitely a deep head nod.
The dog folk drops down onto all fours and approaches you and circles around Ruckus and sniffs his butt.
Ruckus wags his tail and goes around to the best bow's bum and hesitates and looks for a moment. Gives a little sniff. What do I smell? Ooh, that's a 20.
You smell exhaustion.
Oh, she's been running all day, I think.
You smell a lack of nutrition.
Oh, she's got to eat more bananas.
And you smell blood.
Oh, I wonder what she ate. Or who.
As she circles back around to face you, are you still on your hind legs or did you drop down?
I'm dropped down in the bow, so I'm on
Okay,
all four
okay.
legs, yeah.
So she circles around, she sits right in front of you. And you can see that the tip of one of her ears is missing, as is one of her canine teeth.
As she sits in front, I'm going to duck a little bit just to make sure my head is lower than hers is, as a sign of respect.
She looks around and she's going to cast Speak with Animals in reverse on all of you so that you can understand what she is about to say.
From her perspective, we are the animals.
Yes. I mean, technically the spell is used for communicating with beasts, and because dog folk are half beast, it doesn't really work to be cast on you, but the way that she is casting it, with her special paladin abilities, she's casting it in such a way that it gets rid of the need for Ruckus's bark buttons, because otherwise she would only be able to communicate with him because she doesn't have bark buttons.
And then it would just be 5 minutes of
Yeah. As she does that, she's going to come up to you and kind of nuzzle into your cheek where your eye patch is, Ruckus, and flip your eye patch up. And this is the first time that any of the rest of you have seen that Ruckus also has heterochromia. Ruckus has 2 different colored eyes.
This is the first time I knew that she knew that I had heterochromia. Oh my goodness! This is a big day!
Belle does not gasp because Belle just doesn't.
Clarice becomes increasingly nervous because Clarice did suspect this, having seen Ruckus use magic. And she understands this is not a thing that happens in this world. There's not supposed to be 2 of them at once.
Do you know who I am?
Oh yeah, I do.
Would you like to tell your friends?
Yeah, this is the best Belle. The one from my generation. She's been taken under the wing of the previous best Belle and has been training for her whole life.
I'm sorry, the what?
She's like the most important dog folk.
Yeah, most of us are non-magical, but once in a generation, there's one born with heterochromia, and that's the mark of magic.
And she looks at Ruckus and she says, twice for us.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I've been trying to keep it a secret this whole time. I'm so nervous. I'm trying my best.
It's good to hear your voice again, Ruckus.
Oh, I was waiting for you to cast Speak with Animals on me, but you didn't. That's okay. We finally got there.
So you're like the sovereign ruler of the dog folk.
Oh, rulers are pretty strong.
She's more like the general, like when in battle or strategy.
Okay, but the
best
alpha,
Belle is,
if you will.
the best Belle is the paragon of all of the dog folk.
Okay, so you're the paragon, and you're the spare paragon. The spare
I don't know. I was born this way.
Okay.
Why are you here?
Have you heard about Malveaux?
Oh boy, have we. We
Well-
can't stop hearing about him.
Tell us what you mean.
He's back.
Okay, but like him?
As far as my intelligence knows, him.
And your nose is very intelligent because you're the best Belle, so we trust it.
6 days ago, a large group of supporters of Malveaux arrived in Pushton.
Oh no.
That doesn't sound good.
They're trying to enlist the dog folk to their cause.
Oh, that's a terrible idea. Dog folk are going to say yes to that.
Unless they bring bananas.
Unless they bring bananas. That might be. Well, don't tell them that.
You guys. Continue, please.
Ruckus, your family has been taken.
Oh, no! Where?
I don't know. By Malveau's people somewhere. Ruckus, we need you.
Okay. Where should I go? I'll be helpful.
We need you back in Pushton fighting for us.
Oh, okay.
What can we do?
I think this is a dog folk thing.
But like, do you need food or anything right now? Or like healing? Like, I can't heal. So just like, but like, do you have burrs in your coat that I could pluck out or something?
I haven't eaten since I left Pushton.
Oh, goodness. Do you want some bananas? I got plenty of them.
I mean, that would be a start.
Here you go.
And he hands her a whole bunch of bananas.
And she looks at them and she unpeels one of the bananas and shoves it in her face. And then just because it's like the best thing she's ever eaten, she does the same thing like 4 or 5 times just as quickly as she possibly can, just shoving bananas into her face.
I know they're so good, right? Once you pop, you can't stop.
Okay, so like, I get that you're super hungry, but if you haven't eaten in a long time, then it's really important to eat slowly so that you don't... Belle just goes into full, like, party group mom mode and, like, is coaching her through, like, how to eat so that she, like, keeps it down and...
Absalom Nova snarls at you.
It's okay. Dog folks have very high constitution. They'll be able to do the saving throw she needs.
Clarice is going to offer her water skin to the best bow, the
she takes it and drinks thirstily from it and hands it back to you empty.
Kelonian sort of shifts himself in order to hide Angel.
Let's do a sleight of hand check there.
11.
She looks at you and notices that you're kind of hiding something. She's, it's fine, I'm a vegetarian.
Ooh, great.
She looks over at Ruckus and she says, I need you to understand how serious this is, Ruckus.
Oh, I understand very well. We gotta go save my family and save everybody in Poochton.
You might not make it back.
I'll do what I can to save my family and serve Poochton and serve the best pal.
Say your goodbyes then.
Okay, well, I gotta go to Poochton, everybody. I hope you can find a way to meet with Malveaux and maybe talk him down, or maybe just kill him if that's not gonna work. I'm gonna try to do my thing over in Poochton and help with the best pal over there, and, well, I think I gotta go north now.
Clarice.
Oh, tell that creepy lady inside I'm sorry, but I couldn't come back because I had other things to do.
Clarice is gonna reach into her pack and remove the final bananas and hand them off to Ruckus, and then reach for a paw to just sort of give it a squeeze if he offers it back.
Ruckus puts his paw out.
Clarice's tiny hand sinks under the weight of Ruckus's paw, and she attempts to squeeze, but really just sort of ends up patting in a flipper-like motion.
Clarice, Kelonian, you've always been a great friend to me throughout my studies, helping me, with my studies and my homework and stuff when I wasn't doing all that great, so I just want to say thanks so much.
Don't be afraid to be the best, because to me, you are.
Oh.
Ruckus sits down and goes,
Gonna miss you, Ruckus. Ruckus, I want you to take this. Kelonian takes out his handmade mug and hands it
Oh, thank you so
to
much.
Ruckus.
I gotta give you something back. Well, what do I...
And he looks up and he takes off his bicocket green hat with the orange oriole feather and hands it to Kelonian and says,
Don't tell Angel where that feather came from, but I hope you enjoy the hat.
Ruckus, thank you very much. I'm gonna wear it right now. He takes off his regular hat that he wears. It's like kind of a cowboy hat, and puts on your hat instead.
It doesn't have any magical properties. It's just a cool hat.
Anybody else have any farewells they would like to say?
I feel like Belle and Andric are like sort of standing on the side like, did you know he could talk?
Yeah.
I mean, it is under a spell.
Sure, but like Belle is just like, like Clarice and Kelonian clearly had like this relationship with Ruckus, and Belle is just like, oh, he can talk. This is just a revelation.
Yeah, sorry, I'm still processing the actually comprehending rather than just hearing bark buttons.
It's okay. I understand it's probably a big change for you, but I've had a very vibrant inner life this whole time.
What you don't actually know is that all of you are actually talking dog folk right now.
Sure.
That's amazing.
That tracks.
I love that.
I suspect before this is over, we're all going to have to save our own families or each other's, so take care of yourself and come on back.
Thanks so much.
And I'm going to cast Minor Illusion and make a oligarch butterfly appear on Ruckus's nose.
Ooh, that's just like my friend over there.
he gestures over to the oligarch butterfly that's been waiting patiently on the fence.
Says, come on, bananas. Ready to go to Poochton with us?
Animal handling check.
Right. 8.
Can I feel like Belle probably just has a flower somewhere on her person.
Sure.
Can Belle do the help action by giving Ruckus the flower?
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you. Let's try again. Oh, that's much better. 17.
Bananas, the oligarch butterfly, flutters over to you and lands on the flower that Belle handed you. And then, because you don't have the hat anymore, kind of floats up onto your head and nuzzles behind one of your ears.
Oh, that's a great place to ride. There'll be a great view and some great breezes.
Shall we?
Let's go! Do you want to sing my favorite song with me? It's called All the Best Bows Go to Poochton.
And they trot off into the woods.
Can the rest of us join in to like sing them off?
You are welcome to.
Is that okay with you?
Yeah, of course, yeah. 5, 6, 7.
You watch Ruckus and Absalonova disappear into the distance, and you remember that you still have a lot of work to do, and get back on your horses and start to head back.
Oops All Bards is created, GM'd, and directed by Jillian Ashley Blair Ivy. This episode was produced, edited, and sound designed by Nate Runkle. Oops All Bards stars Ashley Banks as Belle Cernamiel, Ann Coleman as Clarice Sauercloud, Ross Curry as Andric Harrowhold, Chris Klinecki as Poochton Ruckus, Bob Killian as Kilonian Stumps, featuring Paige Klinecki as the voice of the Bark Buttons. The Oops All Bards theme song is by Bob Killian with additional lyrics by Jillian Ashley Blair Ivy. Oops All Bards is executive produced by The Porch Room. We are part of the Porch Room Network on Spreaker Prime. For more information, visit oopsallbards.com. Thanks, and be sure to subscribe to Oops All Bards on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your podcatcher of choice. We'll see you next time.
How will it go?
Well, we're sure you can guess.
Oops, it's all Bards. Oh, what a mess.